I'm Carrie Pena, and welcome to In the Moment, our weekly talk show focused on how to live your best life in the now. I am here with my co-host, Gelie Akhenblit, who is the founder of Networking Phoenix, and Zenobia Mertel, who is a life and style columnist for InspiredMedia360.com. And in the moment with us today is our friend, our guest co-host for the day, Tish Frye. She is an auctiontainer, an entrepreneur, an author. I mean, the resume just goes on and on and on with you. So your new book is almost out, and I'm so excited about this. It's all about your journey as an entrepreneur, and you give some very specific tips in this book, Tish, about finding success.
Yeah, you know, Carrie, actually it's a 7-point methodology. It's kind of funny, because when you keep getting knocked down and you get up, you knock down and you get up, people finally go, well, how are you doing that? And so you kind of sit down and think about it and go, I have a way I'm doing this.
Yes.
So yeah, it's 7 points that I have followed to face. I teach women, particularly women, on how to be a success. I hear constantly, oh, I'm too old to do this. So age doesn't matter. Financial standing, oh, I don't have the money to start that or do that. And then trauma, I'm going through X. So I've been through all of that and still managed to be a success over and over.
And we're going to dig a little deeper into what you've been through and what you're helping to teach, not just women, but big crowds of people who are now following your story. So we'll talk about that in just a minute. Also coming up, really excited to tell you guys about Startup Week. I love this. Anything that has to do with entrepreneurial spirit. Gelie was inside Startup Week in Phoenix, and she's going to take us inside and tell us what's going on there. Zenobia just got off a plane from Las Vegas, where she was checking out the project, and she will share some of the hottest and most inspirational stories and styles. And you met some amazing people there. We'll talk about that coming up in the next 20 minutes. And new to the show, Coach Dar will be joining us to talk about how to level up in our lives. So I think you guys are going to love what she has to say. But first, we're going to talk about our hot topic today, and this all has to do with customer service. So I'm sort of fascinated in the businesses that really do this well. You guys, those of you who've been following the show as we built it over the last 3-4 weeks will notice that we started with a plain white background and slowly we're adding, because, you know, it's a startup. So we hired a company to create the graphics for us, and this was Christy Trejo from PRI Graphics. Well, something went wrong, and I have to just put a shout out to her, because immediately she called me, she owned up to it, she said, I'm so sorry, we're going to fix this right away, we will be there on Thursday. And that makes me feel like I would recommend that company to anyone. I didn't worry about her at all. How much does customer service matter to you, Tish?
Well, to me, I think it's everything. The interesting thing, too, is how many people take time out to complain, but don't take time out to actually say, job well done. So that's sort of a thing for me. Customer service, you can pretty much get any product, any service you want anywhere, but it's a difference between being a number and a name. It's that difference between literally when someone understands, Carrie, I'm coming to help you. They recognize who you are, not please hold or any of that. To me, it literally will drive where I shop, who I actually do business with, what airline I get on. You know, it literally will drive me as a consumer to where I go, because I can have the same product or similar products, but a completely different experience with that product.
Well, and brick and mortar stores really have to pay attention to this, because e-commerce will drive you out of business. I read an interesting article in Marketplace about how Walmart is doubling, am I saying that right? Walmart,
you got it.
doubling down on customer service. And I actually reached out to Jay Bear. I love his work, and he's written extensively about customer service. And he wrote me and he said, this is one of the most powerful yet underutilized techniques in business. Research shows that customers who complain and have their problems solved spend more and are more loyal than customers that never had any problems at all. That's why, as I wrote about in Hug Your Haters, companies should answer and address every complaint in every channel every time. Gelie, you coach businesses. Is this one of the things that you talk to business owners about?
I do, and you know, it's interesting to me, it's a little shocking almost that we have to talk about great customer service, because it would seem like that would be such an innate thing. And me being born in Russia, I can tell you, I feel like some of this stems from just an American culture, where in other cultures, like, that's just the norm. You know, if something happens, you go way out of your way to fix the mistake. I mean, that's like the instant reaction, where here in the US, it's a little different. So it's almost like, you know, we have to be taught to be nice and kind to people. It's almost Totally, right? But yeah, this is something I talk about, and this is something that every business owner should take very seriously.
Yeah, Jay, in his book, Hug Your Haters, he talks about how you have to embrace it and at least answer back the criticism. As a newscaster, I know sometimes it's not always easy to see the comments, but I always responded and tried to, and once you respond to people, a lot of times, not every time, but a lot of times you can diffuse the problem right there. All right, now let's talk a little bit more to Tish. And I want to kind of set the stage for our viewers in terms of, you know, a lot of people see you emceeing all these, you know, glitzy, glamorous events, and you're amazing on stage, but so much has been going on behind the scenes in terms of your personal life. Can you give us a little bit of what you've been through?
Yeah, you know, honestly, I'm one of those women that I will tell you what probably my greatest failure was my marriage when it fell apart. Divorce, it'll shatter any woman, it really will. I went through that first, and that also was the catalyst to me really getting my career up and going. So then you're raising 2 kids by yourself and you're on your own. And then 2 years ago, I was out running and I was struck by a car. And I was struck in a crosswalk and thrown in the air, and I landed on my head and split it open and suffered a traumatic brain injury. And so I was left with a stutter and partial seeing in my right eye and deaf in my right ear, and still trying to run a business and raise 2 kids and all the rest of it. And then at the 8-month mark of really going through all that, the father of my children was accidentally killed while cleaning a gun. So then I was stuck truly on my own raising kids. In the midst of that, I just refused to give up. I'm not the type to give up. I think that everybody has something going on or a story, but it's the fact that you can continue to get yourself up again to really face that. Was it hard? Yeah, it was very difficult. But am I grateful for it in many ways? I am, because it's allowed me to find strengths within myself I didn't even know I had.
Well, and I want to just, if you don't mind, I just want to, because I've interviewed you about this before, your ex-husband was a very close person. He wasn't just the father of your kids. It was your best friend.
Yeah.
So it was an extremely traumatizing situation for you, your children, that you literally had to stop and pick up the pieces of your life.
Everything. And because I work on a plane and I'm gone a lot, we really honestly, we started out as best friends in college, we were married, and we went back to best friends. So this literally is the closest family member I've ever had. And the way that I could do my job is like I'd go to school, drop the kids off in the morning, hop a plane to Houston, he'd pick them up, we'd have dinner together, we talked 3 times a day, you know, it was my best friend. And when you've gone through a traumatic brain injury and you have post-concussive syndrome and a lot of basically trauma, it's what happens when veterans come home, it's what happens when athletes get hit. There's a lot going on. Well, that trauma then comes through emotionally. It re-triggers everything. So yeah, it was a very difficult phase in my life and very difficult on my children. And what we found out, and I have interviewed about before, is that when you're not really, you're just showing up, you know, you're not really tracking your own emotion. My daughter became extraordinarily depressed and suicidal, and it wasn't because she lost her father. For a 14-year-old to look you in the eye on Mother's Day, no less, and say, Mom, I'd love to put this in a little box for you because it's from Dad, but it's not. It's because the day Dad died, you died, and I have to live with someone that's walking around like a living dead. And that's a wake-up call like that. I mean, there was, and it did, and it forced me literally to flip a switch, own my life in the moment, and start over again. And you know what? We had rainbow waffles in my house this morning. You know, we listened to music. My daughter's doing great. She's thriving. My son is, and life is back because you have to claim it. You have to claim it.
Tell me about your book.
So my book is called The Walk in Her Shoes. I am actually known for my shoes. I love shoes. I know a lot of women love shoes. But actually there's a great quote from Marilyn Monroe, and it says, give the girl the right shoes and she can conquer the world. And what I think that truly means to me is that for women, a lot of times, exactly like we said, I'm too old, I'm too broke, I've gotten hit by a car, I'm divorced. So they don't go out and really pursue their talents and what they can. Well, if you arm them with what they can conquer the world. And that's what I found. So I have a 7-point methodology that I teach, and I'll teach men too. I don't want to say I just do women, but I truly feel if you look in our community, if you look at like disabled or you look at elderly, you know, there's a lot they can give we're overlooking, but women stand in our own way and we stand in each other's way. And I'd really like to see a change where a woman that maybe thinks, for example, one of the women I helped was in the poverty line of 18,000 and under, driving a forklift. Now she works for me and she's, you know, making a 6-figure income and all the rest of it. I mean, she's amazing. But you would think, she once said to me, why would a woman like you be friends with a woman like me? Why wouldn't I?
Yeah.
You know, why?
We all learn from each other.
Yes.
I love the message in your book, and I'm so excited for you that this is a labor of love, and it's coming out soon. So we put all of the information up on the screen so folks can check out more about that. And on the subject of people who are thriving, let's go to Gelie to talk about Phoenix Startup Week. And Gel, I have to play this first because if you don't know about Phoenix Startup Week, this is the place for entrepreneurs, and the entrepreneurial spirit in Phoenix is en fuego. But first, I want to play a short clip that Gelie shot, and I love it because you stop the guy, he's holding his cheeseburger in his hand, and you're like, let me interview you, so let's look at that.
So Galvanize is a learning community for technology built on the foundation that both education and industry are stronger together. So we have workspace for entrepreneurs.
And he was talking about Galvanize. Tell us more about that.
Right, so Galvanize is a new co-working space in downtown Phoenix in the Warehouse District, and they're really catering to tech companies. There's a lot that's involved. It's not just co-working, but anyways, you can get more information on that if you go to the website, and he gave us a quick little rundown about that. But what I really want to talk about is the Phoenix Startup Week, and more in particular, just how our ecosystem of entrepreneurs is here booming in Phoenix. It's been building up, and this isn't something that's been around, for 10 years. And literally just the last 3 years, it's been exploding. And I'm so proud of our community. I want to give them a shout out. I'm proud to be a part of it. And Phoenix Startup Week is catered to entrepreneurs. It's a 5-day event. It's absolutely free for everyone. And the community brings in mentors, speakers, all top-notch local people that are seriously making things happen on a daily basis. And it's just a great way to put everybody in the same room at the same time. Particularly, I'll be mentoring on Thursday, and tonight, this is really cool. They're closing down a whole street in downtown, and they're doing this live pitch event, so kind of like Shark Tank. So there are hundreds of companies.
I love this. 50 grand at stake, right?
50 grand is at stake, yes.
Yeah.
And there are 10 companies that are going to go pitch. I believe it's a 5-minute pitch. And it's to a panel, and then the panel is going to get to decide who gets the $50,000. So this is and this is new to the event this year, even though the event's been running for 3 years. So you can still grab your tickets.
And this is all part of the Yes Phoenix movement. I mean, when you hear about this, Tish, as an entrepreneur, I mean, what do you think the key to entrepreneurial success is? Is it drive? Is it heart? Is it strategy? Is it focus?
You're willing to jump into the fear.
Yeah.
You really are breaking from the pack. And as scary as that is, that's where the opportunity lies. It's learning to harness that. You can trace through any entrepreneurial spirit. You look at someone like Julia Child. She wrote her first cookbook at 50. I mean, people that break from the pack, they're not letting those things, those that we talked about, that conversation in your head, I'm too old, I'm too broke, I'm too this, stopping them. You've got to go in the fear. You've got to jump in the pack.
Remember your why. All good entrepreneurs, even the most successful ones, always say that along the way, they reminded themselves, why did I start in the first place? I mean, that's so important.
Passion.
Now let's go over to Zenobia with your vibe segment. Z, so you just got off the plane from Las Vegas, and you were there for this super cool, The Project, and it's part of the Magic show there. And it is all of the retailers who want to show what they have going on, but you really experienced a lot of behind-the-scenes stories of not just entrepreneurs in the fashion world, but people who are making clothing and jewelry with a purpose.
Yes, I was seeking out those inspirational stories, and it was really refreshing to see even big brands motivated by what's happening in society. It was political, it was charity driven, and so it's a movement. It's called the Sustainable Fashion Movement, and many companies are taking note of it. And one in particular, which is MPG, I went in there, sat down, beautiful clothes. It's athleisure wear, but then they also had a little sportier side. And I spent a lot of time with the national sales director, and he was telling me the company was started by a man who was a refugee from Africa. And so he was inspired by ballet and wanted to get into the fashion industry. But once he created the company and it got off the ground, he opened a school in Uganda. And it's been 10 years running. They've served over 4 million meals to people over the years there. And he's giving back, and that's his purpose. And everything they do with that company circles back to that cause.
You saw a lot of the athletic wear, or
athleisure. It's
Athleisure
big.
wear. It's
aisles and aisles.
Yeah.
Yes.
Only word.
There was even yoga happening in the booths in the aisles.
Some of the brands that stood out to you, of course, we all love Spiritual Gangsta.
Yep, our local love Ian and Vanessa, and they're always doing such big things. They were on the Today Show last year, even involved in a lot of hunger causes, and plenty locally, but globally too.
And then tell me about Brett Novak with this Good Human.
Good Human, and I love him. I love his company. He was motivated, started his company when his dad died, and he wanted to do do something that made people happy, inspirational coats. So it's graphic athleisure wear, fitness wear, but really cool coats. And I had a shirt a while ago. I didn't realize it was theirs, but it says thankful, just very simple. And so the story is in their clothing tag in the back about why he started the company. And he said he just wanted to do it to make the community happy, put good vibes out there.
And he's very successful now.
And he's really growing fast, and his story, it's just going to get better and better.
Well, what I love about this is because they're all rooted in people who are staying true to what they want to put out into the universe.
They're wise.
Yes, they're wise.
Following his why.
Finally, the lucky star, Dawn.
Yes, Dawn, and we talked about her recently. She was just featured in Sports Illustrated, 3 of her designs.
She's a local Valley designer. She's amazing.
She is. Local Valley designer, fashion jewelry, and the accessories were big there too at Project. And she was booming. You got to see the interaction between the buyers and the designers. It was really fun to see.
Her stuff is very cool, and you'll be writing about all of this. There's so much more. There's so many more stories to tell.
Great.
So you can always check out Z's columns, Z Life, on inspiredmedia360.com. So as we've been talking about, we have a lot of contributors. We're so thankful to everyone for reaching out to us, wanting to contribute to this show, and just incredibly awesome people. And today we want to introduce you to Coach Dar. Many of you might know her. She's a well-known public speaker and motivational coach. She is sharing some Wednesday wisdom. She's talking about standing up and owning who you are. Take a look.
Hey everyone, it's Coach Dar. Thanks for watching. Hey, I want to talk to you today about today's quote. It says, maybe the only reason you think you're not enough is because you let someone else determine your worth. Like what? You'd let someone else determine your worth? Like, no. This is where we stop this madness. You don't need to be a CEO, a supermodel, or, a pro athlete or have 5 million followers to think that you're enough. You already are enough. So start owning that and taking back your power. Come on now. Like, we've all need to rise up and stand together and own this. If you're doing everything you can every day and you're leveling up, then that's enough. So own that, okay? Take this and share it with your friends. Use this as pay it forward inspiration, and I'll talk to you soon. Raise the bar.
Tish, what does that mean to you? Stand up and own who you are.
I think it's where it's exactly like I talked about. It's where it all starts. I mean, for me, a female in an auction industry. I mean, it's an all-male dominated industry. I don't fit in, and I finally realized, why would I try to fit in? I mean, I just need to stand up, own who I am, and suddenly things just start moving. You get over it, and life starts. I think it's
because
fantastic.
You are a colorful woman. You're a very feminine woman. You love clothes. Yep. But for a long time, and as you've indicated to me, this was a man's world that you were walking into. And instead of trying to adhere to that, you decided to embrace who you are, your femininity. It doesn't make you any less smart, any less capable, and you own the stage when you're up there.
Thank you, Karen. You know what's interesting? It took me a little bit to actually do it. In the beginning, I really actually kind of squashed those parts of myself and tried to fit in. I kept trying to mold myself to who I wasn't. And the second I just burst out and admitted, this is who I am, I don't care, I wear high heels, I branded myself
bright
with
pink high heels.
Exactly. But
and
then my career skyrocketed because I stood out of my own way.
Yeah.
And I kind of almost all those things I was hiding from are now my brand, and that's why people come to me, because I own it.
I love it. And now we want to check in with David Lux. So we were just telling Tish before we started the show that this is a fun segment that we do every week called Lunch with Mom, because we just love the fact that Dave Lux goes to lunch with his mama every week on Saturday. And Tish, this week they were at the Fresh Brunch put on by 1 in 10, and this is to benefit the LGBTQ community. And Dave says in writing to us, quote, "This was my second Fresh Brunch, and what Linda Elliott and her team at 1 in 10 have accomplished for Arizona's LGBTQ homeless youth is nothing short of miraculous." So we have some pictures from him of his mom, our mom now, we just call her Mom for short. Mom with Linda Elliott there. Apparently the food was amazing. Anyone who serves bacon and eggs, count me in. I love that for breakfast. But also, I have to say, and you don't know this, but we're running some pictures of you also being honored, because it was a surprise honor for you, because you were actually working that event. Tell us about that.
It was a huge surprise, and it's hard to keep secrets from me, but they did. 1 in 10 I've been involved with now for almost 8 years, and I love this group. And he's right. Linda Elliot and her crew are literally changing lives for our youth here in Phoenix and beyond. But I was the auctiontainer, like I like to call myself, and raise funds like I typically do. And then all of a sudden, I was being ushered to the side of the stage, and there is an enormous honor called the Babe Kaler Award for Leadership. And Babe was one of the founding members of 1 in 10, and has literally received every accolade in this city and state beyond as an activist, as a philanthropist, you name it. And it turns out I was receiving the award.
How did that feel when the light was shined on you? Because you're usually the conduit, and I saw the pictures. It was an emotional moment for you.
Burst into tears. I was actually shaking. It was, and it's so strange because when you're on stage all the time. I just finished running all over the stage. And then suddenly the stage itself, although the stage hadn't changed, my presence on the stage had changed. And it was just so humbling, and I was so honored. I mean, I'll still choke up thinking about it. And to have my name shared with Babe Kaler's was something, I mean, I'll never forget it. It's right up there with having my kids.
You know, and just really quickly, because we have to move on to our next segment, but I just wonder if you could just share a quick thought with the audience about what it feels like to stand up there knowing that you've committed your life to doing work that you believe in. You took this auctioneering role, and yeah, you go to events and you're a great auctioneer, but you really get involved with the charities and you make it matter.
Yeah, for every single person that I work with, I volunteer for. I just became a wish granter for Make-A-Wish. I am a camp counselor at the LGBTQ camp for predominantly trans and gay youth. I walk the walk, talk the talk, and that's part of standing up and owning it. I realize that's who I am, and I don't want anyone else to be like that. If you want to, that's great, or I'm not trying to tell you that. It's just me owning who I am, and that's my passion. That's my why.
Yeah.
And then the rest is easy.
Well, congratulations.
Thank
and we
you
loved
so
your
much.
outfit, by the way. Really
Thank you.
great outfit. Mad Men, it looked like that whole
yes,
theme.
there was a whole little Mad Men thing going on
I
there,
love
so.
it. Now it is time to go out with our intern, Kate Dalton. And as you guys may have noticed by now, we're a little bit obsessed with pet stories.
Yes.
Anything that has to do with a pet rescue, anything like that, we are all in. So she is checking out Wine for Woofs, which is a really cool event. So all these architects come together and they design these dog beds. But I'd go live in one. They're that great. They're so great. Or maybe at least spend the night in one, because you could. And they are raising money for the Animal Welfare League. Take a look.
Hi guys, this is Kate from Inspired Media 360, and I am here with Facings of America with Miss Jane, and we're here to talk about the great cause that they are doing. Jane?
Thank you, Kate. Yes, this Friday we have our 3rd annual Wine for Woofs, Beer for Barks charity event for the Arizona Animal Welfare League. What we've invited a lot of our architects, builders, and designer clients to do is build some dog houses. As you can see, our showroom is full of dog houses right now that we're going to be auctioning off this Friday at our event, and all the proceeds go to benefit one of Arizona's first and only no-kill shelters. Last year we raised about $25,000, and this year we have a goal to raise $50,000. So we want to invite everyone to come on out this Friday to our Scottsdale showroom from 5 o'clock to 9 o'clock. We'll have plenty of wine, beer, food, and lots of pups that are going to be available for adoption that night too.
So if you want to go check this out, great stuff. And I just love to highlight organizations, in this case, all of these really important, well-known architects who take time out of their busy schedules to design these dog beds. And you know about this event, right?
I do, but I want it's coming up, right?
Yes, it's
Because
Friday.
I have 4 dogs, so
Yeah.
I'm
You are
wait,
busy.
I really actually would love one of these beds. So.
The beds are amazing, and they hope to raise $50,000 this year. Again, that is to benefit the Animal Welfare League, which does incredible work in the Valley. And now to our Do Good segment. So, you know, I am the MC for the Global Family Philanthropy event coming up, and I know you've worked with GFP.
Yep.
I love the work that they do in Haiti. So we have been doing a series of brand stories for them, for GFP, to really highlight kind of the good work that they're doing. One of the stories I wanted to bring to you all today, because I interviewed one of the volunteers, and this is a woman who is recently divorced. She has 5 kids. And yet she still finds the time and the love in her heart to fly to Haiti and to volunteer. Take a look.
My name is Gelie Akhenblit, and I have been a volunteer for Global Family Philanthropy for about 3 years. I love to volunteer and give back to others because ever since I was young, I've always found it to be my calling to give a voice to the voiceless. I have gone through a tough year. I went through a divorce this year, and I realized when I went to Haiti this year, it was my 3rd trip, that it literally healed me. The minute we turn the lens into the outside world and see everything that's in front of us and how we're just all mirrored images of one another, I think it's important to teach our children that there is a world outside your 4 walls. There is a world outside your community. And I do feel like we have a responsibility to teach our children to be human citizens.
Well, the volunteers are the backbone of the organization. We have no paid staff. Everyone volunteers their time. If it wasn't for the volunteers and the donors, of course, none of this would be possible. Lori could work 24 hours a day, which she generally does, but still couldn't accomplish as much as we've been able to.
2016 was a very big year for us, and we accomplished so much and shared our projects with over 30 volunteers. And it's our labor of love. 2017, we would love to finish our elderly home. And I feel very confident that we're going to make that happen.
What Global Family does is it's boots on the ground. Takes your hand, shows you humanity. Working with GFP has changed my life in every way possible, because it's reminded me who I am as a person, and it reminded me of why I'm here. And that's the gift they've given to me, and that's the gift that I hope to give back.
I just can't say enough about her, and and just the spirit of giving back.
You can feel it when you talk about her.
People like this move the world, right? Because the one thing that is the commonality when I interview people who have volunteerism in their heart, it is that no matter what is going on in your life, if you, like she said, turn the lens to the outside world, it changes everything. Doesn't it?
For me, it's one of my 7 points in the book. It's called perspective, and the way I teach women to get perspective is go volunteer.
Go volunteer.
Because whatever you think you're up against, I promise you, go give back in that element, and you will, just as she says, open that up, and you actually get more out of it than the people you're helping. It's amazing.
We love having you as our guest co-host today.
Thank you.
And where can people find you?
You can find me. The easiest one is LeticiaFrye.com.
Yes.
I actually answer my own webpage, so it is me. And you can find me on Facebook at Tish Frye as well. And
you'll have to keep us posted on the book too.
A Walk in Her Shoes should be out by late spring, early summer at the latest, and
any new shoes.
And any new shoes. It's all about shoes.
Tish, thank you so much, and we want to
you.
thank all of you for joining us. We hope you will join us each week for In the Moment. We release every Wednesday, and so far so good, guys.
Yeah.
You can find us on inspiredmedia360.com. Our mission, quite simply, is to motivate and move you, and you can find us as well on Facebook and YouTube at Inspired Media 360. Of course, if you'd like to contribute to the show, you can always get in touch with us, and we'd love to have you because so many people out there have great things to say and to contribute. Life is short. Make sure you're living in the moment. Take care.